Welcome all to accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a light on incredible individuals and organizations and the work that they do. I'm your host, Josh Basil. I'm a C45 quadriplegic, paralyzed below my shoulders, and a power wheelchair user. I'm the Community Relations Manager here at accessiBe and a passionate disability rights advocate and attorney focused on breaking down barriers to access and inclusion for people with disabilities. Today on accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions, we're excited to have Deborah Davis, the founder of PUSHLiving. Welcome, Deborah.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much. It's great to see you in person.
It's so great to see you as well. And so tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you're doing at PUSHLiving.
Oh, well, I'm a divorcee now living in Florida in my 50s. So I'm one of those girls. I should be a housewife, of Weston or a housewife of Fort Lauderdale. So yeah, basically just have been doing push living for quite some time. And there's different units and now we're growing and we're kind of evolving over time and doing new things. So there's lots more to come.
And so, how did you get involved with PUSHLiving, the idea, or about your disability?
How did I get involved in it?
Yes.
Well, I founded it. So it was just an idea, like everybody has a creative entrepreneurial idea. It started out really with the idea that we were finding all these locations and travel opportunities that were accessible to people like us, but none of them were marketing to us. So we're like, gosh, this place is amazing. They have all these great ramps but nobody knows about it and nobody can see it on their website. So we started there and I thought to myself, well, why don't they just, rather than go and create images each of these places, they could just buy stock images. So we created a stock image site first, and that at the time was called Photo Ability, and it was with a partner out of Australia. Now we still have that site, but we changed it over to Push Living Photos. So basically, it's disability inclusive stock images that any company can buy to show that, hey, we belong on their cruise ship, we belong at their resort, we belong at their restaurant or their nightclub or whatever it is that they're doing or their business. And then from there, I thought, gosh, I have all these things to say and I want to talk about it. So we started a magazine. So an online magazine was sort of the next step.
And so, how
So it's
did
a
you?
lifestyle kind of magazine.
That's how did you like? Tell us more about your disability journey and kind of what got
Oh,
you.
okay, sure. Well, I was a dancer. I was 18 and I had a car accident. I was driving home from work late at night and just fell asleep at the wheel. And I was driving a van that someone had lent me, and I didn't have a seatbelt on and flipped backward because the van kept turning on the Beltway up in Maryland. So then back then we were given a long rehabilitation process. So I went to New York University, which is called Rusk Institute. So I did like 6 months at Rusk, C67 quad. Then I ended up leaving there heartbroken because, I didn't want to leave because you're in this little bubble of this great world and you have best your friends are there and it's like a little, oh, you love everybody. And my dad said, nope, you're going to school. So in 4 months, I was down at University of Miami, which is how I ended up in Florida. The best thing that ever happened to me is they kicked me out, put me in a dorm room, no accessibility at all on campus at the time. But they did just take off the door and put like one of those doors that went this way so I could get in and out. I transferred to the toilet, went from the toilet over to the bathtub, and then put myself in the bathtub. It was crazy. It was just quite the disability journey for sure. And you get used to your bladder and how it works. And I would go to class. There was never any accessible bathrooms, and sometimes I wouldn't make it. I'd be peeing my way back to my dorm room. Like I'm like, oh my god, does anybody see the liquid coming out of the back of my chair? But then I got used to my bladder and how it works, and now everything's accessible. Like 1991 came, we got the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, and suddenly like you just don't have that problem. You can just go to the bathroom anywhere except when you're traveling, of course.
And
So
then,
that's it. And then I just graduated college. It took me 6 years, and then I met a boy and got married and had two girls. And I was working in the corporate world, the regular kind of world, and then nonprofit. Became a nonprofit director, and then got divorced, got remarried, came to Fort Lauderdale, and decided to start my own thing. I was fortunate at that point that I was with a man who I didn't have to work, and I could take that journey, which I know is something that I can do, but I'm not in that situation now. So I have chosen to be single, and I am trying to build my own way again.
And then Push Living, how many years ago did it start?
Oh gosh, I think 2007.
Um,
It's been a while. Yeah,
and
it's been a long time, but it's just grown so much, and we've done so many different things with it. We even did a travel agency, and because it just felt like a really important need, and we went to Portugal, and then we went to Ireland, and we were supposed to go to Italy, and
see the
then
world.
COVID hit.
No, it's good to live with adventurous wheels and get everywhere. So I love
Yeah.
that. And Push Living's like stock images and what you guys are doing around changing the images on the internet. So one of the things that always upsets me the most is when businesses want to be a part of, talking about disability and inclusion, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and they end up going to stock image websites and pulling people that do not have disabilities but are like faking having disabilities, or like there's all these different ways of like looking at an image and seeing that it's not authentic. And I've always like wanted a place where you could go to like find real representative photos. And when I found your site many years ago, I was just like, this is brilliant. And so can you talk more about why is it so important to have authentic representation within the photos?
Well, yeah, it's painful, right? Those images with the girl with her hands up in the air with the beach and the fake hospital chair. Oh my God, that's a
The fake
classic.
hospital chair is the word.
Yeah, the fake hospital chair, or the girl, sitting there in a hospital chair, and the guy. They're always like sympathetic images or inspiration porn, or oh yeah, they're bad. But it's definitely a bad sign for a company to do that. So yeah, we decided that that was the first key, is to give that as an opportunity. And what we really did was we went with the models. We created most of the images you see. We produced them ourselves, so it was a huge amount of work. I mean, you can't even imagine. First, we have to get the model. We have to sign releases. We have to do contracts with them. Find the photographer that's in their hometown, and it could be anywhere. And then, review all the different photographers. Sign a contract with the photographer. Then we have to do the storyboard and the meeting, set up what the shoot's going to look like, schedule the shoot, have the shoot, edit the images, keyword the images, and then do all the
But
photoshopping
you
or whatever
create
you
a
want to do,
really
and then the marketing.
but
So
they,
you can imagine,
you create a really high quality image at the end of the day though. That's what's it's like it's not
and it's
just
forever.
yeah.
And the key thing to remember is we pay all our models on every image sold. So it's kind of a cooperative business. Everybody gets paid. As a matter of fact, it's on my calendar for Friday, pay commissions. So that's the joy of it. The models get 10%. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it's forever.
Yeah.
But the
Good
cost,
royalty.
of producing the image, and we also pay the photographer. So we only end up making, like I think depending on the image and the photographer and the deal, like some of the really high end photographers, we had to pay a little bit more commission. Yeah, at the end of the day, we're really not making a lot of money yet. So we're just putting it right back into the business, and,
But you're
really
giving
promoting.
businesses the ability to grab real, authentic images of people in the community rather than like you'll see. I see all the time somebody that is clearly doesn't have a disability. They don't look the part. Their legs are really thick and muscular, and their arms this and that, and then they're in a hospital wheelchair that literally you have to unfold. And it's not like a wheelchair that anybody with a spinal cord injury or a disability would use on a daily basis. Like there's a lot of little things in images, or you'll have someone that's blind and all they did was put a pair of sunglasses on. Like it's being able to find people that are really members of the community and taking images of them and putting them on your website. It's just it tells a much better story, and it shows that you get it and that you're not just trying to like put a band-aid over something to say, oh look, we do care, we have a person with a disability on our site. It's the worst when they actually don't even have a disability. But it's you said something before that I think some of the audience members would like to hear about. But like you said, inspiration porn. What is that?
Yeah. Well, basically, our own community uses it. I hate to say it, and it's not something I've ever done or felt comfortable with. And I have training as a speaker, and I've always had a struggle with speaking because people want us to be inspirational
Yep.
because of the disability. And I've never been comfortable with that, Josh. I don't know, maybe it's just my personality, maybe some intrinsic thing. I want to be inspirational because of the person I am, because, one of your questions is like, what are you most proud of? And that even makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what it is. I don't want to be an inspiration. If I happen to be one to somebody else with a disability or to another person, because of my wisdom, because of the person I am, then fine. But I don't like the idea of using the disability per se as the mechanism for the inspiration in and of itself. So, we are surviving and we're thriving as a person with disability. That's great. But I personally just want to be seen as Deborah, a woman, a mother, a businesswoman, a friend, someone who's growing and learning every single day and trying to be the best person I am, just like everybody else. I'm no more inspirational than people who you can't see their disability.
That's
So when you make me an inspiration, you kind of separate me from you. I'm different and you're focusing on my difference, and it just makes me feel awkward.
well,
And it must be interesting because I don't get that a lot anymore. Like I used to get it a lot more when I went out. Like even like the store, you go to Publix and all of a sudden people are like, oh my God, you're shopping by yourself. I'm so inspired by you. I never get that anymore. Maybe it's because I'm getting older.
It's
I don't.
it's kind of funny how inspirational porn work. It's literally if you have a disability and you go outside your home, all of a sudden like there's an award above your head. You're an inspiration, but it's I've never believed that all people with disabilities are inspiration. It's what we do with our lives makes us inspirations, whether you have a disability or not. It's what do we choose to do when we wake up? What do we choose to do to make a difference? What do we choose to do to like make an impact on the world? So it's like inspiration's fine. I think inspiration's good because it's empowerment, it's motivating, it gives us the ability to like want to do better and want to be encouraged and motivated in some way. But like to classify everybody with a disability as an inspiration, I think it does not do justice to, or is not the proper terminology. It's
Exactly. I think we also have to be, aware that not everybody wants to make a big difference in the world. Just because, some people just want to exist and be a mom and a wife and a good person in their community and, maybe do some knitting for the church, whatever. That's fine. We don't all have to be, Josh Basil or Ali Akersall, changing the world, right? It's fine. You can be a really powerful force in the world of good and light just by being an example of human kindness.
absolutely, and
That to me is the most where I'm at in my life now. And that's what I find to be the most inspirational. People who are just good, because we really have so much darkness and negativity. And, you know,
but that
that's
that right
inspiration.
there can be an inspiration to someone. It's not a universal inspiration to all people, but there's no doubt about it. That can be inspirational, and
Yeah.
that just like I'm finding so much inspiration right now. I just became a dad, and other quad fathers, other people that are quadriplegic and fathers, like I'm inspired by them because like they did it, and it's like it's not easy. It's hard. It's hard to be a dad first of all, and then to be a dad with a high level spinal cord injury, just like you, like saying mom with a spinal cord injury. Um, it's um, it's the thing I like to always say about people with disabilities is that we're natural problem solvers, and that
Yes.
we with the right creativity and a willingness, like we find a way, and we're very tested. So it's fun to kind of see that ability to live and to do it however is comfortable to you. So I know you say you want to talk about what accomplishments you're proud of, but like what's another way I can word that? I would love to know what's something in recent years that you could say like you'd want to share about.
Oh my gosh, Josh, I know that is a tough one for me because I don't honestly feel proud of my accomplishments. I mean, I think honestly, I really truly believe that every single day we have to persevere, right? There's so much time in stretching ourselves and getting ready and eating well and focusing on, self-care and all the things we have to do in the day. I mean, every day you should be proud of yourself, and then even if you fail, like, you're getting up the next day and you're trying again. So, I mean, am I proud of myself? Probably in the moment I was maybe proud of myself when I created a new blog or a new website or created some new business, or we just got our 501(c)(3. That was kind of exciting, and I did it myself because I had to fire the company because they were terrible, for our new organization. So I was proud of that. It's called Push Passion, by the way, pushpassion.org. I've never had a nonprofit. I didn't even believe in it. I thought, listen, just because it's disability doesn't mean it has to be charity. So people always say, why isn't your photo gallery nonprofit? Why isn't your magazine not? Because it's not. Why does it have to be nonprofit? Because it has the word disability inclusive in it. So, but then I really felt this powerful push to create something that would help other individuals with disabilities to become coaches and to change the world through not their inspiration, but their wisdom and their knowledge, and help others, whether it's with relationships and dating, whether it's sexuality, whether it's in a marriage that they're already in and they're having trouble. Um, there's so much we can do to help people. There's so much need for it. So I said that's really what I want to do. I feel strongly about that. I love the idea of psychology and overcoming. So yeah, I guess that would answer your question.
That's beautiful. No, no, the wisdom that I'm hearing, the perspectives, their approaches. You're trying to package that a little bit better for people to access and digest it, which that's power right there. I love that.
Thank you. And remember, the coaches are going to be people with disabilities. So we're going to be providing a really cool way for them to have a new career, that they can do, that's flexible, that's not like 9 to 5, which it's hard for me. After COVID, I went back and tried to work for a while, and I didn't have the ability, honestly. I was so dead at the end of the day that there wasn't enough for me to actually do my self-care. I just couldn't do the 9 to 5, the 9 to 6 travel, the air conditioning, the freezing, not be able to put my feet up, just having to be in an office. And I even tried working from home, but when I'm on a specific, okay, you got to be there and be on camera at this time every single day, it just wore me out.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds like I'm spoiled, but
No,
it's
you
just
know
me.
you.
Every disability is different, and I know you and Allie probably you guys do that, but it it felt like I was getting so much resistance, mentally, emotionally, and physically. That doing something a little different, and that you can work all the hours you want, when you want, schedule it how you need to, just seems like a good idea.
But
So we provide these certifications for people to be life coaches, and they can specialize in their life coaching, relationship coaching, business coaching, which you would be great at. And then they can go on and have their own private profession, and they can also help other people with disabilities to recreate their lives.
Well, I think it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and
Thanks.
you're packaging it in the way that the community can be more active and share their skills and talents, because there's so much skills and talents and there's so much value. And I like what you were saying before about why Push Living is a for-profit. Like, it's everything with disability next to it does not have to be a charity. And the fact is that 1 in 4 people in the U.S. have a disability. It's a huge population, and there's a lot of spending power. Like I mentioned this before in some of my other spotlight sessions, but $490 billion in spending power. So there's a lot of money in the disability community that people want to spend and want to invest in, and it's just having more businesses that are specifically focused on it or opening their doors to our population. It's a smart business opportunity, and I love that you're now creating ways that people can be employed to provide more of their skills and talents to kind of shake things up and change perspectives. Share a little with us.
It's taken me so many years to learn things, and every day I learn something new. I know that a lot of things that are barriers are not necessarily mobility,
Yeah,
Josh. My biggest barrier has always been like emotional, getting my head straight, making sure that, if I'm going through a breakup, or I'm not sure, about my confidence, or whatever issue that's emotional, it's hard for me to turn that off and to keep focused on work and getting accomplishing. I'm just not built that way. And I mean, when you learn skills and you learn tactics and you start to understand yourself better, we can help other people do that so they don't have to suffer for so long. Every time I go on social media, I see people posting and I'm like, gosh, I know things that could help them. And it's just things I learned, by reading and understanding. And, I'm in my 50s. It's taken me a long time. And if we can help other people to recognize their worth, and understand when they're dealing with a narcissist, or when they're dealing with just attitudes, or how to change something. It could be just a slight little change that could change their life.
It's well, it's I totally love what you're saying in the respect of kind of being real and raw and kind of sharing all the different sides of your journey, your life, your approach, and there's not one way to move forward, and it's just a matter of figuring out what direction you want to move in and how you're going to get there, and not being afraid to have different tools and approaches and tactics. It's we're on a journey here, and I'm a big believer that we're better off when we're not alone. So I love getting the community
Ah,
together the way that you're doing it is a
I
beautiful thing.
love that. That's a great. Oh my God, can I use that quote?
You've got
I'm going to use that quote in our next blog, because yeah, I like that. We're better off when we're not alone. And people do tend to go to social media and talk to in our groups, our private disability groups and things. But when you have an actual coach, when you have somebody who's on your side, who's really, holding you accountable. I've never had that in my life. I've tried coaching, and it's expensive. Most of us can't afford it. So if I can provide an avenue to provide coaching for free, if people really have, a goal, I want to get out dating, or I want to recreate my life, or I want to find a job, or I just don't feel good and I don't know how I'm going to live like this anymore, those kind of things. If we can make a difference, we will. And then, they can come back and they can make a difference, just keep
a
creating,
reciprocal giving.
I hate to say, make it sound so hokey, but like I said, it can just be like, Josh, you just had a baby, like I remember when, my daughter turned 12, like I was having so many issues with her. And back then you had cassette tapes, and somehow I must have found it. And I just started listening to them on the way to work, and how to deal with kids who are just basically like becoming too hard to handle, and with discipline, she was just becoming difficult. And that's what I needed at that time to get me through. And sometimes it can just be a song or whatever, but whatever you put in your mind is it becomes a part of you. So I think we got to be careful with the negative influences and the negative cycles that we can get our head into.
And well, thank you for sharing that and everything that we've talked about today. This is some good conversations. And just, Deborah, thank you for being a Spotlight Session guest. And to our audience, thank you for joining us to the end. But Deborah, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Josh. It was great to see you.
You as well. And until next time,
Take care.
everyone. Bye, everyone.